Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So we've got quite an exciting video today because the UK have finally come out of lockdown, which means I've been able to hit the bookshops. I also do work in a bookshop, and so in the past week I had 2 Christmas book tokens and I spent them all in one shift at work, and I went to the charity shops, and so I can't wait to show you what I've got. Also, just in case you're wondering, I cut my hand open on the tripod, on the little clips, so if I start bleeding all over the books, that's what's going on there. Honestly, the things I do for this channel. Blood, sweat and tears. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the books.
Hey, not gonna work. Can we go thrift shopping?
What?
I'm going to start off with the books that I got from charity shops. If you're not in the UK, charity shops are basically like thrift stores, but all of the money goes to charity. And there's a really good charity bookshop near me where all of the books are about £1 or £1.50, and I managed to get quite a few there. So first up is The Education of Little Tree by Forrest Carter. This was a book that I actually read as part of my English GCSE, and I really enjoyed it. Hello, the first appearance of Editing Anna in this video. Yes, I've got a really short fringe and I'm not wearing makeup. I'm so tired, I've had such a long week doing assignments. But anyway, let's talk about The Education of Little Tree briefly. I really enjoyed this book, as I said when I first read it, when I was about 16. Because it was about a Cherokee boy living in America during the Great Depression, but he was very much living on the land, and it was all about his connection with nature and the sort of war between man and nature, which is something that really interests me because I'm very much like an eco-warrior, as I think we all should be. But I did a bit of research into this book and I feel quite conflicted about it. It turns out that Forrest Carter was actually a leader of the KKK. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure how he did it, but he ended up writing this book that got him heralded as a great Native American author, to the point that even Oprah recommended it. So I definitely need to do some more digging into this, because one, I'm not really sure why it was a recommended text at school. I'm all for reading different opinions, but that's pretty problematic. And second, how did one man with such strong opinions go from being like that to writing a book like this, which was not only quite beautiful, but I seem to remember it being very accepting of different cultures. I need to reread it, I might be wrong. But please, if anybody knows anything about this book, leave it in the comments, because I'm not sure I want to read it knowing that. I don't want to give time and energy to someone with such horrible opinions that I fundamentally and deeply disagree with. So yes, should I reread this book? I don't really want to give it any more airtime, but let me know, because I'm feeling quite confused. Anyway, back to the video. Book number 2 is Trumpet by Jackie Kay. So this one kind of called to me in the shop, and I quickly went on my Goodreads and I found that a very long time ago I'd put it on my TBR, to be read, but with a different cover. So somehow some part of my subconscious recognised it. It sounds really interesting. So it actually won the 1998 Guardian Fiction Prize, so some people must think it's quite good. And it's about a trumpeter called Joss Moody, who's a jazz trumpeter, and it's about the aftermath of his death and his child coming to terms with finding out that his father was biologically female. And I just think it sounds so interesting. I've never read anything by Jackie Kay before, but it's not too long. It's about 250 pages, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Who knows when I'll end up reading it? Often I buy books and then don't read them for ages, but I thought this one looked really good. The next book I got in the charity shop was this amazing copy of Trainspotting by Irvine Welsh. Look at that cover. I love used books. Like, you can see that the spine's a little bit rough. You've got all of the posters on the back. I really have a crush on Johnny Lee Miller in this film, so I had to get that. I actually already had a copy of Trainspotting from the charity shop, which has a different cover. I'll try and insert a picture here, but I really like this one just because the film is one of my favourite films, and I have the soundtrack on vinyl as well, which has the same cover. And as you know from my vinyl video, I love it when covers of books and records match. So I had to pick up this one. I do want to read it. I'm not sure how much I'll enjoy it, because the thing I really love about the film is the cinematic value of it. Like, it's so clever the way it's directed and really inventive in the way it's made. But the actual story itself is really sad and quite hard hitting. It's about a group of drug addicts in Scotland in the 90s, and I am half Scottish, so it would be quite interesting to read this. But I don't know if I'll like it because I'm not really big on books about drugs, and it could be quite sad. The film does have some really sad moments in it, but those are sort of made up for by the beauty and the exciting quality of the cinema and the filmmaking. But yeah, I'll give this one a go. It's probably not top of my TBR. I'm also going to gift my other copy to my friend Laura because she loves books about Scotland, so I think she'll enjoy that one. But yes, that's the other one. When I saw this cover, I had to buy it. When I saw this next one in the charity shop, I had to get it immediately. I sort of pushed past two old ladies and said, I need that book, because I've seen this everywhere and I really want to read it. This is Station 11, and it's by Emily St John Mandel. And one of the things that really drew me to this is that on the front, there's a recommendation by Erin Morgenstern, who is one of my favourite writers. She wrote The Night Circus and The Starless Sea, and I actually met her, I'll include a picture here, when I went to see her doing readings on Radio 4, and I got to ask her a question that was put on the Radio 4 book club, which was so exciting! And she was lovely, and she signed my books as well and wrote my name in them. But anyway, I have seen this book everywhere. Ariel Bissett, who is one of my favourite YouTubers, recommended this book, and I think Noelle Gallagher might have recommended it as well. I also love her videos. I'll put both of those links below. But it's actually about a pandemic, which kind of terrifies me a bit. So I'm not all that big on reading pandemic books. I don't think I've ever actually read a pandemic book. I started Last One at the Party, which came out recently, and I got a few pages in and I just couldn't do it. It made me so anxious because I just don't want to read about a pandemic when we're living through it. So you might be wondering, why did you buy this, Anna? Well, this one in particular has had fantastic reviews and it sounds really good. I really like the cover. I can't resist the recommendation by Erin Morgenstern, and I do want to give it a try. So it says here that it moves backwards and forwards in time, and it charters the unexpected twists of fate that connects 6 people. So it sounds really interesting. I don't know if I'm going to read it right now. I'm not sure if I can cope with a pandemic book during a pandemic. But on the other hand, it might be the perfect time to read it. So let me know in the comments if you've read this one and if you'd recommend it, or even if you wouldn't. I'd love to know your thoughts.
The next day.
Hello! So, this is actually the next day. I'm wearing the same thing, but haven't got any makeup on. And I didn't manage to last that long without buying more books. I went to the charity shop again on the way home. I just thought I'd pop in, and I ended up buying a few. So I'm just gonna whiz through them, otherwise this video is gonna end up being like an hour long. I got Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell with the lovely Shepherd Fairy cover. I've just finished reading Keep the Aspidistra Flying, which I loved, so I can't wait to read another Orwell book. Flowers for Algernon. I got this because I loved the cover, even though I've just seen someone scribbled on the bottom. It turns out the reason for this is there's a matching stamp inside that says it was from Leeds Library, which I just think is so cool. It's about a floor sweeper who goes through an experiment that makes him a genius, but then they find out that the effects could be temporary, and it's all about how he comes to terms with that. So I'm looking forward to that one. Then we have Milkman by Anna Burns. This won the Man Booker Prize a few years ago. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about it, so can't wait to try that one. We have this lovely hardback edition of Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This is one of my mum's favourite books, and I loved the film. Michael Sheen was amazing in it, so I can't wait to try this one. And then finally, When Mr. Dog Bites, which is apparently about a boy with Tourette's, and it just sounds quite interesting. It's meant to be quite funny, so hopefully that one will be good as well.
Get in, loser, we're going shopping.
So, now we're moving on to the new books I bought. I got these with my book tokens, so I had two £10 book tokens to spend, and because of my discount, I could get double the amount of books because I get half price on books in Waterstones, which is amazing. So I can't wait to show you what I've got. So first up is Giovannis Room by James Baldwin. I've never read anything by James Baldwin before. Here's a little picture of him in black and white if you are interested in what he looks like. But this book just sounds so good. So it's really not very long at all. It's about 155 pages, I think. And it's set in 1950s Paris. The main character is a man called David who's waiting for his fiancée to return from vacation in Spain. He meets a man, I believe. Yes, Giovanni, a handsome Italian barman, and they fall in love. But apparently it's quite a tragic relationship, or at least a tragic story. I have a feeling this one might break my heart, and so I am quite cautious, but I've only heard good things about this, so I had to pick it up, and I can't wait to read it. And then next up, I got two books. I wasn't planning on getting these new, but they've just had brand new covers released. I bought The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro and Never Let Me Go, and I love these covers. I bought these two copies to match my paperback, but sadly they're not quite the right size, which is heartbreaking. And also these ones are glossy and this is a very matte finish, so I might even need to buy a paperback of this when it comes out, although I do think that's maybe a bit ridiculous. The Remains of the Day is apparently a contemporary classic, and it's set between the wars in a great English house. In the summer of 1956, Stevens, the ageing butler of Darlington Hall, embarks on a leisurely holiday that will take him deep into the countryside and into his past. It sounds so good. I loved Clara and the Sun. I loved the way it was written. I was talking to my friend Hallie about this when we were at work the other day, and we were saying that what makes Ishiguro's writing so enjoyable is that it's so compulsively readable. It's not really flowery in terms of language. It's just so accessible. It's straight to the point, but then often he says something really profound or beautiful. And sometimes I kind of hate it when you're reading a book and you're really aware of the author's presence. I think the mark of a really good book is when you can almost forget that you're reading a book and you just fall into the story. I saw a really good quote by Matt Haig the other day, who is of course author of things like The Midnight Library and Humans, where he said, "I never understand why easy reading is sometimes used as an insult. It is quite hard to write a novel that's easy to read. Imagine criticising an architect because a house was easy to live in." I just love that, and I think that perfectly sums up Ishiguro's work, so I can't wait to read this. And then we've also got Never Let Me Go. This book was on my TBR already. I'd already been scanning charity shop shelves and just haven't found this one yet. And once I saw the matching cover, I had to get it. So what I've heard is that it's quite similar to Clara and the Sun. So it says Ishiguro imagines the lives of a group of students, I can already relate, growing up in a darkly skewed version of contemporary England. I don't really know what the themes or the tone of the book are, but I still think it sounds really good. Next up is a book that I pre-ordered ages ago and that was waiting for me when I got back to work. This is Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I'm going to show you a close-up of the cover because it is just beautiful. I also love the back. So this just sounds like the loveliest story. It's set in a hotel and the blurb says, Mia Tang has a lot of secrets. 1, she lives in a motel, not a big house. 2, her parents hide immigrants. 3, she wants to be a writer. I just think it sounds amazing. Apparently, I think there's a sequel coming out as well. And I tried the first couple of pages and I just love the writing style. I might even read this one next because it's really calling to me and I need something uplifting, especially before I try Giovanni's Room, which sounds like it's gonna really upset me. So yes, I can't wait to read this one. I'm also fully aware that I'm working again on Friday, and by the time that this comes out, I'm pretty sure I will have got at least one more book because I've reserved one. So I'm going to use the magic of editing and try and show future me talking about the books that I get, or the book that I get, because I'm really excited about it.
One shift later.
Hello, it's Anna from the future. And I did buy the book that I pre-ordered and I can't wait to show it to you because I think it's possibly one of the most beautiful books I own. So this is Clara and the Sun. Surprise, surprise. I know I already own this, but I really wanted this edition. This is the Waterstones exclusive edition published by Faber and Faber. And just look at this. Are you ready? How clever is that? I love it so much. I am such a sucker for sprayed edges, but this is possibly one of the most clever sprayed edge designs I've ever seen. The end papers are also beautiful. It's the same on the back as well. And under the dust jacket, it's this beautiful sunshine yellow. And there's also a matching ribbon bookmark, which I really love. I think it's a really lovely touch. I also like how instead of the blurb, we have a quote from the book on the back. I just love this. I'm probably not going to read this copy just because I have already read the other one, but it's a book that I really wanted to own and I'm so happy to have it. It is just beautiful. So that's it, you've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Let me know in the comments if you've bought any new books recently or if you've read any of the books that I mentioned. I always love to talk about books, so please let me know. If you like this video, you can give it a like and you can also hit subscribe, but only if you fancy. I hope you have a lovely week and I'll see you next time. Bye!